Okay, I don't have Sister Dominique here. She's doing her own thing, so she can get back on her feet. But today, I wasn't going to do a message, really, because I'm still going back and forth with my ministry thing. But I don't want to let people down that really have been learning from me or getting something out of the ministry. I just don't want to let you down. So this is JCM, Jesus Christ Ministry, Street Homeless Outreach. This is Minister Crystal Lachelle Lax. And today we are going to talk about how we have a bad habit of pushing people away from us who we think that don't have the answer to our problem, that don't have the answer to our problem because we don't like what they look like. We don't like the sound of their voice. It's irritating. It bothers me. They get up under my nerves. They get up under my skin. Have you ever felt like that? Sorry about the noise. That's my other phone. If you have felt like that, that is the spirit of jealousy and envy. And we are going to talk about facing jealousy and envy. Don't deny it, and don't sit up there and try to pretend like you're not jealous of that person. I listened to a beautiful woman on YouTube, Gloria, and she talks about black wealth because a lot of us have not been taught about black wealth and how to get it and how to build it and how to make better choices for ourselves. We weren't taught finance. You understand? So I'm looking at her video and I see her as a beautiful black woman. And I'm taking this information in because I never was taught, per se, finance, if you will. I was never taught this in school. I just saved my money, as I was younger. And when I got a lump sum at the age of 18, I bought me a cheap fixer-upper home for $6,000 because I thought in my head at that age that I was going to be a young real estate, guru like Trump was, back in the days. Because I admired him back in the days, I liked him more as the real estate guy, right? So that's how my mind was. But as far as like investing in stock and bonds, I wasn't taught that. And I'm 59 years old. We wasn't taught that. We was taught by just working, saving your money, and then you go get what you want. And it was always go get whatever type of materialistic things that you wanted. But it was never taught to us to go and invest. Go invest in bonds. We were never taught that. We was taught to go get what you want, the nice sneakers or clothes or whatever that you wanted. So, took my money, I saved my money, and then whatever I wanted, I went and got it. But if someone would have taught me at a young age that you take this money, you work, you save your money, and then I want you to invest in your long-term future, then I would have learned that along the way. Does that make sense? See, I've had this one young person came to me in Atlanta, Georgia, when I was homeless, and I was, I didn't have no money. You could tell that this was a brat that grew up in money, right? So he immediately judged me. He immediately judged me. Well, why are you in this situation? Why don't you have anything? And it's like I told him my story. I used to own a home and I used to own my cars and everything. But it's amazing. I told him that it's amazing how life can throw you a curved ball and will throw you off of your financial game. And don't let alone now I'm 59 years old. I'm disabled. It's hard for me to get a job because now I'm a liability to some companies when they see me with a walker. So I'm in the job market. It makes it even that much challenging for a person like me. Does that make sense to anybody that got common sense, knowledge. You understand? So I'm at home and I'm searching for the extra income, this extra gig. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, man, I'm listening to Miss Gloria about finance, the wealth of black wealth, and it's like, man, I wish I would have learned this a long time ago, because I would have taught this to my children. You understand? And sometimes trying to learn something for yourself as an adult, and then trying to pass it on to your adult children, and they may want to hear it and they may not want to hear it. They may take your advice or they may not. It's challenging also, because you don't want them to live the way that you have been living all these years, because you didn't have the knowledge that you needed to know about, right? And it seems like some people don't want to tell you, like it's a big secret, and they don't want to tell you. Or if they do tell you, they want to come across all bossified, like they want to dictate and tell you, boss you around, instead of respecting you as a grown adult and just guiding me. I'm teachable. See, the one thing I've learned is that never think that you know it all and nobody can teach you. See, the difference about me is that I am teachable. If you're talking to me right with decency and respect, I will listen to you. Does that make sense? If you talking down to me, I will reject you. Like my daughter Dominique, maybe sometimes she feel that mom is talking down to her when I'm saying maybe you should save your money or whatever. You understand? So sometimes it's just a matter of the way we communicate with each other. You understand? And then when we feel that the other person just put up this brick wall, it frustrates you, because you know that you're trying to tell them for their better good and their future good, or they're trying to also tell you for your future good, right? Okay, all right. So I've had people come up to me and say, well, why don't you have this and why don't you have that? I did have all of those things that you call yourself in your 20s chasing after. I had a deed in my name at the age of 18, and I was still a senior in high school, owning my own home and my own car in my name. I know what it's like to have something in my name of ownership. So if I had a choice, as far as what would you do if somebody tests you with X amount of money, I would invest in real estate like I started off. That's what I would do, and I would put my money away that will make money for me, or compound interest. Now that I know, you understand? Now that I know. But before, I didn't know, because we were, back in the days, we was not taught this at the end of the day. And sometime as you get older and you're learning this about a budget, you understand? You're learning all of these things, and you're learning how the budget is like a magic solution once you get the right formula. You understand? For your income and your outgoing expenses. So at the end of the day, a lot of black people that wasn't taught finance really need to get a course in it, or really need to just listen to someone's step-by-step instruction. You understand? And just take notes. Because I believe that if we keep doing the same thing, I listened to Tony Robertson, I listened to Les Brown, motivational speakers, and they're always saying, it's crazy to be doing the same thing and expecting new results out of something, or to always think that you can change the wheel on something that's already been established and it's working, and it's been working for years. You understand? And so we always think that we're going to come in and we're going to change the game and we're going to do this. But I'm learning is that if it worked for them and their solution and the way how they got it going, well, then it should work for me too. You understand? So we're going to go into the woman with the issue of blood. Because some of us have had financial issue. You wasn't homeless because of drugs and alcohol. My issue was financial issue. I would work these temp service jobs, because they was the quickest that I could have with 4 kids and raising 4 children alone by myself. I had to keep the money coming in some kind of way. But then when these temp service job assignment ends, your money in with it as well. You understand? Then I try to sign up for at least about four temp service at a time. So when one temp service didn't have work for me available, then I would call the other one, Adecco, Kelly Services, or whoever I was with, right? Or Manpower. Everybody should know about Manpower. They've been around for years, right? So I would call them. I would call each one to see if they got work available. Well, do you know that it does come a time where none of them have anything going out? And if it is, it's so far out that your car either can't make it, you don't have the gas money to make it out there. Let's tell the truth and shame the devil. So I always had these spiraling up and then spiraling down financial moments. And people try to make me feel ashamed about it. But at the end of the day, some people talk about things, but they refuse. Where they refuse to put themselves in your shoes at that moment in time and era. We were only making in the state of Indiana $3.35 as a CNA in the nursing home. After I graduated from high school, Washington High School in South Bend, Indiana, okay, I started working in the high school cafeteria for $2.90 an hour just to get school credit, works credit, and so that I can graduate. So I did that throughout my whole entire high school year. I worked in the cafeteria and I worked through the school work programs. You understand? And then after high school, I went into CNA work, certified nurse assistant, with my mom and my aunt. I worked in the same facility that they worked at, and they started me off at $3.35 an hour. $3. Because the young people in today's generation is really unmerciful and they so judgmental. So this is why I'm directing it at them, because they have a bad habit of judging me and my situation and try to block me from getting back up on my feet as an older woman. But are they going to be the ones to take care of me as I'm aging? So why would they try to block me from any type of income or that I need to make for myself? Does that make sense? Okay, because some of them is still being taken care of by their mama and their daddy and grandma and grandpa. So they got coverage. I'm still by myself alone. So I always got to keep myself covered somehow, some way. That was always my thing. I need an A, B, and a C plan, if that. You understand? So, and I guess the young women's trying to be cute in front of their young men's, and the young men's trying to be cute in front of the young women and trying to use me at their expense for laughter and joke and entertainment. But you understand, but life is not a joke. Life is not a joke. You can be up one moment and life will throw you a curveball where everything that you worked hard for will come tumbling down and will humble you if you are so cocky and arrogant. The reason why some haven't fell down yet is because mama and daddy and grandma and grandpa, or they got a slew of family members that they can reach out to. I don't have that. I really don't have that. Truth be told, I can't just get on the phone and say, hey, bruh, yeah, I'm going to need about $5,000 so I can start my business, open up my ministry. Yeah, I don't have that. You understand? Reality of some people world. You understand? Because people that have money or that's more better off than you, they have a bad habit of judging your situation without them taking a moment to, you can even just imagine being in somebody else's shoes. You ain't even got to walk it. You could just put yourself in somebody else's shoes, that you a young woman with 4 children because the husband done walked out. Now the load is all on one person and you're only making $3.35 an hour, and you have the rent on you, you have the utilities, you have the transportation problems, you have getting milk. At the time it was milk and Pampers that I had to do for all by myself. You understand? So I had all of this overwhelming bills on me. And then when I would see the big bill, I would panic like anybody else would panic. I would panic because I would see that big $800 bill or even $300 electric bill. You understand? And I wasn't taught about budgeting or anything. You understand? We're talking about in Ohio and Indiana where it snows or it gets so hot where people run their ACs. You understand? In these hot and humid areas. So let's be real about things. Let's not be like a generation that about magic and unicorns. No, I didn't live that type of life. So before you sitting up here in your young, well put together life, you need to see where the older generation came from. Even the older generation before me. How do I look like a 59-year-old to judge a 70 and 80-year-old that probably they was working for 50 cents an hour, $1 an hour? I mean, they was working for less than even I was working for, $3.35 an hour. So how do I look being an older woman in my 50s to judge a woman that's in her late 60 and 70 and 80, and how come she don't have this and that? Well, I don't know what happened to that lady along the way. So who am I to judge them? Who am I to point the finger and put them all over the internet and disrespect older people like that? Who is that? Who does that? This is your mother and your grandmother generation who put older people all over the internet to laugh about their living situation, when I'm a young person that just came out the womb 18 and 20 years ago. I'm new on the scene. I'm just now getting started in life. Who am I to judge a 50-year-old, 60-year-old, 70 and 80-year-old person? Who am I to judge them? I was raised to respect my elders. I was raised to respect older people. Unlike some people in this generation, they are so disrespectful that I'm surprised that nobody have taken them out yet. Because they are just that disrespectful towards people, mothers and grandmothers and older aunties. You can't point the finger and judge a person if you never walked in their shoes and you never carried their load on their shoulders. You're just a person that done had things handed to you. Mama and daddy got you covered, or your brothers and sisters got you covered with $1,000. I can't go to somebody and just say, I need $1,000. I never had that. And when I did get my lump sum, I tried to invest in these fixer-upper homes. But I always had a plumbing problem. So that was taking money. That took the money away. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Because for some reason, this younger generation act like I'm a crazy black woman that don't have no skills, no talents, no intelligence, no common sense whatsoever. How is that possible when I have walked this earth for 59 years? In September next month is my 59th birthday on the 7th. Now, I have walked and lived for 59 years. There's something that I had to do right. I made a lot of mistakes along the way and errors, but there's something that I had to do right to have last 59 years, and you're only 20 something years old. You just now getting started. You have a long stretch ahead of you before you judge me or judge any other older person and make fun of us because we're aging. I'm getting old. Yes, this is reality. Everybody is going to get old. Some going to spread wide. Some going to get a double chin. This is life. And we don't have to apologize to Generation Z that cannot accept the real life. We don't have to explain real life to you. Not everybody going to remain skinny and have a youthful body. Not everybody's face is going to just stay at like a 20-year-old and they're 50 and 60 years old. It's called an aging process. It's an aging that this is not something for us to feel ashamed of and embarrassed about. Aging like the young people want you to feel ashamed and embarrassed about you aging. This means that this is like a celebration. This is a congratulation from all the trials and tribulation that you've been through, all the fights that you don't been in throughout your life. You should have been dead a long time ago, but God still got you. What is this young generation talking about? What are they making fun of? Look at where you are and look how far I am. What part of this that you don't want to face the reality that this is not unicorn and magic talking to you? This is a real life woman that have her journey and even getting through your little childish cyber stalking and cyber bullying, trying to cyber bully the older people online now. I have been experiencing this. Trying to gain stock an older black woman. And they call it humor online. Now one person is saying y'all wrong for this. Now one person is saying that could be your mother and your grandmother. Now one person is speaking common sense and respect for me. I automatically respect people at face value. I don't get in their business. I don't put cameras on them. I don't care about your finance. I don't care what you do in your family because I don't pay your bills. My mother always taught me this though. Mind your business because you are not paying that man and that woman bills. Plain and simple. It's just common sense respect for another person. And this Generation Z, some, not all, act like they don't know how to give respect to another person. Act like everything is entitled to them. And you got to respect them, but they don't have to respect you back. How far in life, I wonder, you gonna get with that attitude? I wonder how far in life you gonna keep on coasting by and slipping by and passing by before somebody gets sick and tired of your disrespectful and this is all colors. This is not no particular color. Even the little Asian kids being disrespectful. And you know, normally in their culture, they are taught discipline and respect. Even the Indian and the Asian and people of other culture is tapping on to this Western style of disrespecting parents and disrespecting the elders. Even the Bible speaks on about disrespecting the elders. This whole life is not evolve around you as a young person. There's other people here on the planet, and everything in life is not a joke and to be laughed at and mocked at. Just sit up here. One thing I can't stand, and because I have a homeless street ministry, because I was there, one thing I can't stand is for these young people to get out there and put the homeless people that's not looking good, and you can tell that they need help. They put them all on their video. They get like over 1 million people watching it. and they never go back and give that homeless person, you understand, no money, no place to stay. Just exploited that person. And it's their face and their body that got the people drawn to your videos in the first place. And you don't go back and help them. Or I seen the one guy told the homeless woman to do something for $1. You humiliated this black woman. No, I don't care if she's a crackhead. That's God's crackhead baby that needs help. I don't care why she out there. It's still God's lost children. Why do God say go out to the highways and the byways and look up under the bush and bring my children in? It didn't say to humiliate them. It didn't say to exploit them. Who are you to play God in people's life? Who are you to sit up here as a young person that haven't even lived through your 30s yet, that haven't lived through your 40s yet, to sit up here and judge people? You act like you are a God of the universe and you have the power because you got money, or mama and daddy got money, grandpa and grandma got money. We can do whatever we want to do, say what we want to say about people, put people, mothers out there, all out there on the internet, and you don't feel for them. You don't see the damage that you do to that woman that carried her family all those years and took care of her family, even through the struggle. And you got that woman business all out there on the internet, and you don't give a damn. You don't care, because it's all about your narcissistic feelings of what makes you happy. And you don't care how it has destroyed her family. You don't care how it has also possibly caused the murder of my son, Antoine Jermaine Lax. You just don't care. You don't care about nobody else's feelings but yourself. You never asked me, Miss Lax, how do you feel about it? Nobody ever came to me and asked, how do you feel about this, Miss Lax? They talk about me. They call me every name except Miss Lax. Put me all over the internet so that they call themselves what they call fat shaming in today's society, the young generation, or shaming the black woman, or trying to embarrass her, humiliate her all throughout the internet. And this is what they call entertainment. This is what they call to get more viewers. So at my expense, though, at my expense, where I done went through 2 strokes, and God still got me alive. And I couldn't talk, but God got me talking. And I couldn't walk, but God got me walking with a walker at the end of the day. You understand? And it's so disrespecting that I made it through that just to have these young people be all over the internet to do me like that. To treat me like that. Unapologetic. They don't apologize for nothing evil and wicked and wrong that they have done to me. And this has been over a period of 8 years. And nobody is hearing me. Nobody wants to hear me. They just want the laughter. They just want the jokes, the corny jokes that they tell. And the fat jokes that they tell. You understand? Nobody hears my heart. Nobody is trying to listen to my heart. That was a 20-something-year-old woman when my husband walked out on me, and I carried 4 kids on my shoulders by myself, and it wasn't an easy journey. You understand? And it's still not easy. I just laid down a child that died before his mother, that was murdered. That's not easy. Do you really think that a mother that just lost her child a year ago got time for your shenanigans? Do you really? No, you don't care, because it's all about your views, and it's all about your cameras, and it's all about trying to humiliate someone while they're already grieving for their child. You are such an evil and wicked group of people that somebody do need to dip you in the lake of fire, and for you to suffer for all eternity in the lake of fire, because that is the most evil thing that I have ever experienced in my life. And it's not just one person, it's a group of them that agreed to jump on the bandwagon. I'm in the middle of still grieving the loss of my child, and then Dominique going through what she going through, not Tisha. And this is what they call entertaining their so-called other young group of people. This is what they call entertaining, by taking my hurt and my pain and profiting off of it. And never once have they sent me a dime for my ministry work. And it's my videos, and it's my body, and it's my intellectual property that they're using for a profit. And not one of them have paid me a dime, or even offered to do something nice and kind for me. How selfish and self-centered and narcissistic are they? But yet they want to sit back and judge someone else. Going to the woman with the issue of blood in the Bible. That's going to be Matthew 9, 20-22. The woman with the issue of blood, she suffered over 12 years. This issue about these young people got me all on cyberspace. I can't even live a normal older woman life, you understand, without suspecting, because I can do that, alleging that they're using all these videos when I wake up in the morning, a crowd of people watching me on a camera that I never consent to. I can't even dress and undress in my own apartment space because they don't know what boundary lines is. They don't know where to end the boundaries. That no, I think that we crossing boundary. She can sue us once she get a hold of these videos. She can take us to court and sue us for every dime that we got. And they cocky. She'll never find these videos. She'll never get hold of these videos anyway. So I'm not worried about a lawsuit. And they keep doing the videos on me. And they keep this thing going with me and my daughter as if we are not a human being and we don't have any civil rights and constitutional rights. No intellectual rights. Intellectual property rights. Those are anything that has to do with my body. No matter if you're trying to fat shame it, did I give you permission and consent to put me over the internet without my permission? Then why are you displaying me and not paying me? Why isn't there a contract? Why haven't you wrote a contract or agreement that Miss Lax, that we have a contract that we find you interesting or intriguing and we would like to go into a contract and we will advance you X amount of money to use your video, to use your face, your body, and these videos. Now one of them have approached me like a business, in a business position. They did whatever that they wanted to do to sit up there and try to bring hurtful events and encounterment towards my life and my way. For over 8 years, I have been experiencing this. I walk outside the home and there's a group of coordinated cars, and mainly white people is what I've been seeing. And they're laughing and making fun of me and want to do fat jokes. Why am I experiencing this in my life at the age of 59? And what really hurts is when you see older white people going along with it. Well, then you should know how the aging process is. Why aren't you correcting this? Why aren't you reporting this? Why is an older person being exploited like this? And nobody is reporting that. So this issue, I've been like the woman with the issue of blood in this area, and having foolishness and childishness be around me. Somebody else's childish agenda and game. And they keep doing things to try to poke me and provoke me and get me upset and try to trigger me, with outbursts because I'm tired of it. I'm an older woman. I don't survive 2 strokes. I don't survive 2 heart procedures, STV and AFibs. You understand? And all of this is coming from stress. These people will not leave me alone. Like they're obsessed. And I want to be left alone by these people. But nobody will report these people. And I need to take it to a federal court. I need those videos as soundproof evidence that this is what they have been doing to me. And I am not crazy and I am not lying. This is injustice. And my son probably died as a result to these people putting him all over the internet. The whole entire family is being displayed injusticely. And I can suspect and allege just by the constant repeat circumstantial patterns of something for 8 years. It doesn't, 8 years. Daughter constantly, everywhere she moved, being thrown in jail and mental health hospital. Constantly, that's a pattern that somebody created and keep doing it as a game. Having her ID stolen every time she buys something for herself. The people come in and want to steal it. A pattern. A game pattern. So let's go to the woman with the issue of blood. This woman has suffered with this issue, this bleeding issue. Let's take this also into not only what I've been experienced with the cyber thing, but also financial bleeding condition. Amen. And so she went to the best doctors and they couldn't cure her of this bleeding issue. But at the time, you could just imagine that she probably had fibroids and she probably was hemorrhaging. You know what I'm saying? And the doctors back then just didn't know what to call it, right? But she was suffering from this. And she was suffering on a social level as well. When we don't have the money that we either used to or that we're seeking, you're suffering on a social level as well, okay? An economic level. And people isolated her on a socially level and religious level because a woman that was bleeding was not allowed to interact with people. She was not allowed to come out of her home. So she was isolated. She was lonely. She was suffering from this condition. You understand? No friend to reach out and be around her and embrace her and hug her and tell her it's going to be all right. You understand? She didn't have that. So 12 years. A person get tired of going through the same old. And you need a new change. You want a new change. Like this old thing that they've been doing with the camera. It done got old to me a long time ago. Like they're using it like a trendy kind of thing about the black woman. The fat black woman. That they're using as their joke. And to make themselves feel better than me. Like I'm better than her. At least I'm skinny. But skinny doesn't make it right. Look what you doing to a person. Look at the evil and wicked sin that you doing to a person. How come you can see her fatness? You know, my daughter Natisha, she called and she was reading the Bible scripture that first take the plank out of your eyes before you try to judge your brother with a little speck in their eye. You see my fatness, but look at the extreme measure of sin that you are doing to try to offend me. And the Bible says that when you offend your brother, you are supposed to go to them and ask for forgiveness and make it right with them and God. Look how you have offended me, insults upon insults. All over the internet. All to the general public. Look at the sin that you are doing. And I know it hurts you so bad because that means I got to face my own imperfection. That means that I got to face how I'm so imperfect, but yet I'm going around judging Crystal how fat she is or how ugly she is to me. But look at my ugly spirit that I'm putting out there in the universe. Look at my ugly action that I'm doing towards her so that the whole world can see my ugliness and my wickedness and my evilness in me. I'm showing the whole world my true colors on how I really am and how I really feel and think about people. I'm exposing and exploiting my own self by trying to hurt Crystal over the internet, but I'm also exposing what type of man and woman I really am. And the bandwaggers are those that agree with you, because they wouldn't be wagging you if they disagree with you. So they're just like you. Birds of the feathers, they do flock together. So this woman with the 12-year issue of blood was isolated. They would stone a woman if she came out. But this particular day, you could just imagine going through her everyday chore routine of washing dishes. And let's just say that she had a picture window in front of her sink and she's washing dishes and she's crying over her situation. She's crying over her finance situation. She's alone. She doesn't have a husband. She doesn't have no children. She needs money. She went through her money. No doctor can help her. She paid the doctors all her last little money, and no doctors can help this woman. She's like a widow. She's by herself. There's no man to bring in money. There's no breadwinner, and she can't go out in society because she got this issue of blood. How is she gonna get money? She was worried about the money. She's worried about the debt. Put yourself in her shoes at this moment in time and visualize her, a woman that has no money, has no help, has no family around her because they have isolated her socially. You know how some people want to tell lies and slander on you to keep people away from you, call you crackheads. That's stereotyping and racially profiling you in order to keep people isolated, in order to keep people away from you, saying that woman is this way or that man is this way when they're lying through their teeth. They know you're not like that, but they're trying to isolate you socially. So that's basically malicious and inflicts social injury and damages on you, is it not? Only the attorneys know if I'm right or not. As a paralegal, I would think that would be on point. Malicious intention, where someone know exactly what they're doing, and they willfully, repeatedly doing the act to injure you. To put all these videos out there, that means I want to hurt her. I want to ruin her life. I want to spitefully do this to Crystal and her family. I hate those people. I can't stand those people. Right? Let's call it for what it is. I don't sugarcoat nothing. So if you're looking for a sugarcoat minister, you'll never get it from me. Because I had to go through real life situation on Skid Row, in a lot of places. Right? Okay. So this woman is in this house. She's in this house, been isolated for 12 years. In no social life, no husband, no children, no money. You understand? She's just broken. All points of her life is broken. Social life broken. Marriage life, no marriage life broken. Financial life broken. Health life is broken. Sounds like some of us, right? So you can imagine, she's this woman now, washing dishes, crying, got tears coming down her face. She praying, wondering when God gonna change her situation, right? When God gonna change this? When God gonna take this bleeding away from me? When God gonna help me financially? Okay, but she got wind and she got word that Jesus is coming to her town. And sometimes we gotta get Jesus crazy No matter what you say about me, call me a Jesus fanatic, whatever you want, but I'm going to go meet Jesus. That day, the woman with the issue of blood for 12 years says something in her head. I don't care what they say about me. I don't care if they need to stone me. Stone me. It's better than staying stuck in this house for another 12 years with this issue of blood. She finally said, I don't care. I know that if I can touch the hem of Jesus' garment, I can be made whole. My whole life can change overnight. The same day, the same moment that if I could just touch the end of Jesus' garment, if I could just touch the hem, I already know by my faith that I can become whole and heal. So this woman said enough is enough. She threw the dish towel down, she got dressed, and she headed outside. Headed outside in the midst of a multitude of crowds. But she didn't care. She got down low and went through the crowd. You understand? And so Jesus felt her energy faith. And it was so strong that it drained Jesus of his energy. And he said, who touched me? And his disciples looking at Jesus like he crazy. What you mean? There's a crowd of people around you, Lord. What you mean, who touched you? No, there was a different type of faith touch. That the woman had such strong faith and belief that Jesus could heal her, that she drained the energy from Jesus himself. That he had to stop and said, who touched me? And you could just imagine her bow down. I did, Lord. And Jesus had compassion on her. He was aware of her suffering. And even the isolation, no husband, no children, other women talking about you because they got money, they got wealth, they got the husband, they got the children. So you are complete you outcast as a woman. Socially being made fun of by other women. Talking about you. They got a husband buy them cars, a husband got money in their bank account, they're well dressed, they're well taken care of. And you are the woman with the issue of blood, or you are the man with the issue of blood. You don't have a wife, other men are talking about you, you don't have this and that, woo woo woo. And you are the man with the issue of blood, financial issue of blood. You're socially isolated. You're socially looked down on because the man's supposed to be this and that. Amen. This pertains towards men and women. No respectable person in God. God don't have favoritism. Because there's men that have been unemployed for a while. And God, I've been praying and seeking you, not understanding why you're not hearing me. Sometimes we just feel that God is not hearing us. But maybe you so skilled that God never meant for you to work for another man again in your life. Maybe God meant for you to have brave and faith enough to stand in the water. Stand on top of the water like Jesus walked on top of the water. And go start your own business. Maybe God never meant for you to be working for another person a day in your life. No more. Maybe you're the one that's seeing yourself as a slave to another man, but God's seeing you as an entrepreneur, your own businessman, to own your own. Amen. So this woman, Jesus said, your faith has made you whole. That means her whole entire life was made whole. The sickness went away. Her finance got healed. And you can imagine that she's no longer socially isolated. So hopefully she got married. She had children. Was able to have children. If Jesus healed her inside and made her whole as a woman. Amen. And this is the type of faith that we need. And we don't need to hear people putting us down. Sorry, young people. I know that you just new kids on the block. But really, at the end of the day, we don't need negativity. We don't need your laughter. You can keep that to yourself. You'll learn that along the way. We're not all about the sitting up there and trying to make fun of people, because we know that we can't make fun of people, because life is so strange that one minute you up and the next minute you in the same kind of situation that person that you laughed and made fun of that person's situation about. Now you're homeless. Now you don't have, the stock market just crashed, and all of your money, or the majority of your money just went out the window with the stock market, the crash of the stock market. So at the end of the day, who are you to judge another man? Who are you to judge? And the Bible says, who are you to judge another man's servant? If we're the servant of God, who are you to sit back and call yourself, I'm young and I'm beautiful and I'm pretty and I'm handsome and I'm muscular and I could judge anybody on the earth? No, we all was there at one point. All the older people was there. We was cocky. We thought our looks was everything. Our body was everything, until real life kicked in there. And we got some real life training, and it kicked our tail. It whooped us up a bit, to the point where we just stay humble. And we learn not to make fun of other people, because we don't know when our time is coming around if you make fun of people. So you should want good energy circulating, honey. As you get older, you're going to want that good energy. I put out good energy, I get good energy coming back. That's what you should want. You shouldn't want to be putting out negative energy. How young you are, you should want good energy to keep going for you from 20s and 30s and your 40s. At the end of the day, not to say that everything going to be a bed of roses, because it's not, because it all depends on our choices and decision. Is that right? Right. And there's some choices and decisions I made on my own. Nobody else made those choices and decisions. I did it. I take accountability, and they was mistakes, and they was wrong. Because sometime as we growing up, I don't need you to tell me nothing. I'm a grown woman. And I don't need you. I'm over the age of 18. I don't need you to tell me nothing. So at some point, some of us have been in that mind frame. And once that situation happened, we wish that we would have listened to those older people. See, this is why older people is valuable. You try to devalue an older person, but an older person is valuable, because an older person will tell you their story and how they made mistakes. And so you can avoid those mistakes that they made. So they're going to tell you their story. Like, you probably don't want to do that. Yeah, and you probably don't want to hang with those crowds, because they're about trouble. And you probably need to get yourself up from among them and be ye separated. Yeah. And see, so many young people try to impress their other peers, to the point where you're not even living your own journey, your own life. You was born in this world by yourself, and you're going to leave out by yourself. So why are you going to the extreme, as sitting up there buying things that you can't afford, or sitting up there acting and just acting a complete fool in front of people, just so that you can have friends? You got to talk about older people. You got to talk about the handicapped. You got to talk about the homeless people, in order to get people to laugh with you and be your friends. If that's what you got to do for friendship, then you ain't nothing. You not nothing anyway. You ain't nothing but the number 0. That's right. And you're not a hero, baby. At the end of the day, this is Minister Crystal Lachelle Lax. Peace out.